And of course, tonight we are very excited to host Industrialist Dr. Chris Kirubi, who will tell us more about entrepreneurship, your passion for Kenya's image as an investment destination. And I'd just like to hear your comment about something that President Uhuru said earlier today. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has, for the first time, publicly hit out at what he says is the continued hypocrisy of Kenya's political class, which has seen politicians incite the masses for their selfish ends for decades. Speaking in Mombasa County at the launch of the Huduma Centers, President Kenyatta said politicians have made it a habit to incite Kenyan youth to violence over politics. Yet their families and those of their rivals continue to wine and dine in friendship despite portraying a picture of fierce rivalry. Let's listen to that clip and then we'll get your response to that, Dr. Kirubi.
Na vijana msidanganye. Unajua sisi wanasiasa twajua sana kuwadanganya. Twajua sana. Hiyo ndio tumesomea. Tuko na madigrii ya vile watu ya kuinsight watu. Na mwishowe wenzangu, tukishamaliza kuwa insight, tunakaa kando kwa kando, watoto wetu wanasoma pamoja, nyinyi mumewachwa, mtu wako na panga amekatwa upande hii, mwingine amepigwa mgongo, mwingine mguu imepotea, mwingine macho imepotea, lakini wanasiasa wanaendelea tu na maisha yao. Mimi naomba vijana wenzangu, mkija kuambiwa ati mulimane kwa sababu ya siasa, waambie hawa wanasiasa, fanya hivi. Wewe lete mtoto yako kwanza, umweke mstari ya mbele, ya? Tunaelewana wenzangu? Ya? Lakini mimi
Dr. Kirubi, what's your response to that?
It's obvious that the president cares for the future of the young generation. The way it has continued from year to year, politics misusing the youth, buying them spirits, buying them bangi, buying them everything so that they can do their dirty work. And I think what the president has set up in his government is to create funding like Uwezo Fund and many other funds so that the youth can become more useful, can stop being wasted, because what we are creating is the next generation to run this nation. What kind of a nation are we leaving behind? And it pains him. And I think there should be a law to stop any political party or any politicians misusing the youth, misdirecting them, like they do now in the army. If you take youth to the army, you can be sued by ICC, by anybody, by misusing the youth. I think we need to protect the youth from these vagaries of politics.
All right. Thank you so much. And of course, I'm looking forward to a conversation earlier. I know you mentioned on Twitter that there's a lot of pressure coming in from the people. Same coming through from our 244 SMS platform as well. Questions coming in for you, and we are looking forward to that. Now you're watching the Business Center. Let's just get on with some of our news for this evening. Last week, it emerged that at least 20 hotels at the coast have been closed since May due to massive travel and hotel booking cancellations that have been blamed on travel warnings issued by some of Kenya's top tourist source markets. Now, this has been estimated 5,000 people lost their jobs in the wake of the hotel closures. Tonight, on the first part of on the first of a three-part series on the state of Kenya's tourism industry, Bella Genga brings us the story of one individual who has been literally driven to the deep end by the crisis in Kenya's second highest foreign currency earner. Now, Dr. Chris Kirubi is a Kenyan businessman that has defied convention in many ways. At over 70 years of age, the Kenyan industrialist and entrepreneur has built an enviable business empire spanning sectors ranging from real estate, manufacturing and financial service sectors, placing him high on the ranks of the wealthiest people in Africa. Let's have a quick look at exactly what Chris Kirubi owns, just to own a few. Chris Kirubi owns a 49% stake in Hako Tiger Brands. He's also the chairman of the company, which is of course listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Of course, I've just said that he also owns 25.1% shareholding in Centum Investments, a stake that is estimated to be about 8 billion shilling, making him the single largest shareholder in Centum. Of course, there's UAP Insurance. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Capital FM, hence the AKA double DJCK, and a significant stake in a number of other businesses as well. Let's just delve into the interview, Dr. Kirubi. There isn't much information about your beginnings as an entrepreneur. Paint us a quick picture of your first days in business.
Thank you. And it's nice to say I have all those big numbers.
I did mention others as well.
Well, I started from very humble beginning, and I decided from very early age that coming from poverty, there is no gate stopping me becoming successful. And that's why when I see President Uhuru struggling with the youth, trying to make their life more useful, I believe they can make it.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that you started by buying ramshackle houses and then refurbishing them and selling them at a profit. Is that story true?
I did all manner of things. One of them is indeed buying some properties, and that was very late on in life. I worked for many other people where I earned very little salary. Mm-hmm. But one of my first venture in business was to buy dilapidated homes and turn them to something better and sell them. I'm still in property business today. If you have a dilapidated home, I'll come and buy it, and I'll make it look nice and flog it for better return, yeah.
Okay. Your value in the Forbes of 2012 was estimated at about $300 million. I read a report that you actually said, no, that isn't true. It could be actually higher. And since then, your investments have grown. How much would you say you're worth?
You know, like a typical African, I normally don't count what I own. I try not to think of what I have. I think of what more can I make. Mm-hmm. I think I do make money on a daily basis because of my investments. And what one has to do is invest in real things that make big returns. When I bought International House, it was very historical. That time, no African had a building in the city center, leave alone to own International House. When I started DHL business, people did not even understand what it was all about. But DHL today is a global, is a household name, and I own half of that business. Mm-hmm. I also worked with the Germans in a company known as Biochemicals, which we own, and I own half of it. Again, we started small, we've grown it. It's all over East and Central Africa. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on.
Tell me though, how do you...
I really don't count what I own. I try to count what can I do tomorrow. Yes.
And I'm curious about that because I want to understand your thought process before deciding this is going to be a good investment.
I think my main thing, I look at the demand pool by people. I look, what do people want? First, in earlier years, I looked at women. Women are the best customer you can own because they are very reliable, they are trustworthy, but you must understand what they want. Mm-hmm. You must give them products that make them younger, more nice looking, and value for money. And as a result, I invested heavily on research and development. So I own a lot of products for hair, for body, for their children, writing instruments. I have baby food. I have products for the toilets, cleaning bathrooms.
Mm-hmm. And
all manner of things, yes.
And that's, of course, under the Hako brand. But have you made any bad investment decisions that you can share with us?
Well, I always try to forget the bad decisions.
But we can learn from
You can't grow business if you do not make some mistakes. Mm-hmm. Actually, mistakes are very healthy because you learn from them and you move on. I invested in a factory. I bought a factory making paint one time, and only to discover that I did not think through, after manufacturing the paint, my route to market. And only to find that there were communities which had locked in the right places where you could sell paint. They also are the main contractors, and they obviously had their preferences. And I found myself crowded. The Africans did not use much paint then, and I decided to close the business and quit
and move on to
and
other things.
run to something else. That business, of course, left me a piece of land, which I still own today, somewhere in Athi River. And the plot grows in value every day. You know, I had to spend 5 years fighting with a fellow I put to stay and look after my farm. He converted it to himself, and you never do that anymore. I learned a lesson. You never allow somebody onto your farm.
Of course,
take care of it, because they become protected tenants, and if they are not honest,
and then
you have to keep fighting in courts, and courts take years and years. Yes.
All right. And of course, Dr. Kirubi, you've always been a large player at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. And I'm just curious, are you on the hunt for anything, and where exactly is your money on the NSE?
Actually, the Kenyan stock market is one of the best run in Africa. And I do thank those who manage it, Ed Njoroge and his team. I see my friend Mwangi has quit, but that is where a lot of Kenyan companies' wealth is hosted. A lot of us depend on the stock market to raise funds, to attract other people to invest in your business. And I have always believed in the stock market. The stock market is not for the faint-hearted. You lose money on a daily basis, or you make a lot of money overnight. So you have to be prepared not to borrow money to invest in the stock market.
Talking about making money overnight, or however long it takes, investment analysts say you have been building your war chest, specifically with Centum investment, and over the last 1 year or so, your investments have really gone up. And I'm curious about the Two Rivers project, which is without doubt one of Centum's largest real estate projects. Is that what you were looking for? And besides that, how do you think the Two Rivers project is going to impact Kenya's real estate sector?
Actually, I chose Centum, which was called ICDC Investments before, as a vehicle for my driving and making changes. I've come a long way with that business. It was one time a very tiny business. And when I took it over as chairman, I ran it in a professional manner. We got out of government influence, and I thank government that they own 20% of it. And they literally don't interfere with our work. They allow the board make their decisions, and we make commercial decisions. I think Centum is going to surprise many people. On Friday, we have our annual general meeting. But it is not what we are going to talk about or declare this time. It is the potential, the future of Centum. Centum is the face of the black people, is the face of Africans, partnering with the rest of commercial world, investing in their own country. And I'm very proud of what Centum has done. Two Rivers is just one of those projects. We're going to redefine where ladies like you go shopping.
Yes, I've heard Carrefour will be part of...
We're definitely going to make a center like no other. We're making a center where you can find every single bank that you bank with. We will have the best stores. We will have places you can take your family to spend the day, the best fine dining, the best entertainment area. I think if you've seen what has happened in places like Johannesburg, we are aiming even higher than what they have.
All right, fantastic.
Yes,
And of course,
yes.
at 25.1% shareholding of Centum, you are the largest single shareholder. We're taking a short break now. We'll be back with more. We've got quite a number of questions. Continue sending them on our SMS platform 22422, as well as on Twitter, where the hashtag is the BizCenter. Do join us after the short break. Don't go too far. Welcome back to the Business Center, and of course we are hosting Industrialist Dr. Chris Kirubi. I'm told we're really running out of time, but I must ask you, you have been very vocal about Kenya as an investment destination. Are we on the right track?
I think we're on the right track since President Uhuru came to power. I think he has focused a lot on developing economy. He's been touring various countries, and some of those countries have tagged behind him, and I have seen his effort in turning investors to see Kenya as a true destination. Unfortunately, we have had also a lot of politics and a lot of bad incidents that have tainted our image, and equally the media itself has not been very helpful. It has highlighted more the negatives than the positive. And I think media needs to be the salesperson to sell Kenya, because media is very powerful. But when we talk, 3/4 of what we say is all negative, it does not help. And I see, like now, I come here hardly half an hour to discuss issues. I think I have thousands of the youth who are following me,
Yes.
and who are looking forward to Terian to see your interview and for them to learn something. But I think we need to find time to be able to address most of these issues.
Of course,
it's
Dr.
not fair to the youth.
I know that,
Yeah,
and we take concern with that, and we will definitely find some more time. Michael Njenga has just been going through some of our Twitter handle, through our Twitter handle, and he wants to ask, I think, 1 or 2 questions that has come through from our Twitter handle.
Yeah, exactly. And there are people asking, especially the young people who are asking, do you have young people you're mentoring, you know, to bring them into your businesses, just to rope them in and to have them, you know?
I mentor a lot of young people. If you go on to Capital website, I have a page there, Ask Kirubi,
Yes.
where I try to gather lots of questions from the youth and answer them. And equally, I visit universities. I discuss with these various universities some of these issues. So I do my best. But a program like this one, we need to remove a lot of interruptions in the middle and really discuss issues on economy.
Yes.
What can we do to help the youth? Because since they heard I'm coming here, they've been waiting for hours. So I feel obliged to give them the best we could.
Yes.
And you know me, Terian, you started with me.
Yes, I
you
did.
know, in CNBC.
Yes.
So we need to develop more smart people like you. I think potential is there. And the Kenyans are very smart. I go to Dubai, I go to America, and I meet young Kenyans who are doing great things, but they still need a role model whom they can follow to develop their future. Yeah.
As we wind up, you've been described as flamboyant, fabulously wealthy, one of the few Kenyans who enjoys their wealth. Very quickly, as we wind up, Dr. Kirubi, is that the truth? I hear you have a convertible.
I take life easy. You know, you can never get out of this life alive anyway. Your time will come and you disappear. So why not enjoy it? Why not enjoy the wealth you make genuinely? The only people who try secretly to hide what they own are people who steal from other people their wealth. And I believe it is good to show the youth that if you work hard and you make wealth, you can have fun, you can buy a suit of 1,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds. You can drive the car you want, you can take your expensive girlfriend out. and I believe success must be admired. A lot of us see success as something not to be admired. But if you do that, you will never be successful yourself. So we must glorify what works for Kenyans. Kenyans were not born and defined to be on this earth and to be poor, miserable, full of diseases, ignorance, and fighting forever. I think Kenyans, like any other nation, should have a break, should have good leaders, and they should use their brains, and those who work hard, they must be rewarded.
Of course. And why else would you make money if you don't enjoy it? Dr. Kirubi, we must have another interview. We will be calling your office again very soon and hopefully book for a longer one this time round.
I personally think you should apologize to all my social media.
We do apologize
following
for
up
that,
and
yes.
On CNN website platform, I spoke to 1.8 million young Africans from all over Africa.
Yes.
And I think today I brought you audience you normally don't have. So you better call me back.
All
yes.
right, that's Dr. Chris Kirubi, a.k.a. DJ CK, for you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Business Center tonight, as well as our new guests, courtesy of Dr. Chris Kirubi.
Yes.
And that's how we wrap it up from the Business Center tonight. I am Terry Anchebet. Let's talk business again next Wednesday.
Thank you very much for being with us. One thing I've learned tonight is that success must be admired. You have to enjoy what you have worked for genuinely. My name is Michael Njenga. God bless.
Will you wind up, Dr. Kirubi?
Thank you. I've enjoyed being here tonight.